within our lifetime, they're definitely going to be growing babies in it too. I'm going to call it right now.
Yeah, I'm just like, is this where it's going, where people could actually do this?
Well, and I have a confession. I've thought about, that fleshlight's a pretty good idea.
Like, essentially, he's in the Matrix.
What did you get kicked off before? Was it Instagram?
Instagram. Yeah, hate speech.
Welcome back to the Alpha Hour podcast, where a couple of betas try to pretend like we're alpha.
Jarrad, you made a point. I think we were having a dialogue about various weird topics before, and I kind of threw out VR community because it's one of those things that I find the technology cool as hell. I'm not much of a gamer myself, but I got an Oculus. I think it's pretty damn cool when you put that on and how you can travel the world, and there's a lot of good things that come from it. But kind of when you go through things like Reddit and whatnot, and like, I don't want to say it's a dark side, but it's like people I found out like actually live in VR like 10, 12 hours of their day. And it's like, wow. And you start to hear about their life experiences, because I head down a rabbit hole just like reading some of this stuff. And a lot of times they might have like anxiety or ADHD or just a lot of anxiety, stress, and they find the comfort of their home, their safe place. And it's like, they actually create like a world there, and like they'll talk about how they can basically survive like within their home and like basically get all the things that we would like when we talk about traveling or going to Europe or having these life experiences. They can kind of get that out of VR, and it's like, wow, I can go visit wherever. If I actually want to work out, I can just travel and do whatever inside there. And there's technologies now where you like they'll literally dress up in like this gear that allows them to like feel rain and
haptic suits.
Oh, they had. I didn't realize they had the haptic suits.
I think
too.
they're getting there.
Yeah.
Like this guy was going on and on about it, and then like he prefaced a lot of things talking about this isn't for everyone, but for him, like he lost his wife to cancer and like all this stuff. So he had a sad story, and he was like, so I've had life experiences. I'm 50 now, and like I can get all the satisfaction out of the real world from this VR thing. And I'm like, is this really where we're going? Is this possible? And then there's like guys going on about how even like they've learned how to type. So let's say they have like a desk job where they can work remotely. And then I'm like, could people actually like have careers in this VR world? Could there be these fake marketplaces where you create technologies or experiences for people, and then you could monetize something? I don't know.
Someone's willing to pay for it.
Yeah, I'm just like, is this where it's going, where people could actually do this? It's wild, but I think we're heading there.
I guess I don't, and this is why sometimes, because I mean we're not super young, but we're not super old, and I almost don't want to eventually get to the point where we're one of those old people that are like, these stupid kids are into this stupid VR thing. It doesn't make any sense. But in reality, I think it's going to be pretty big. I don't know how big though, because you still have to have 1 foot in the real world to work.
Well, you got to eat and
sex.
like pee and like.
Well, that's what this one guy, like, he was wild. But literally, he was like, the only things I really need to do are like shower every once in a while. And even like when he eats, he has his VR set on, and he'll be like in a fake cafe and like eating in London or something.
So he'll like just eat under his mask, kind of thing.
Yeah, like he went on about the details of it, and he was like, yeah, like, but basically it was like showering every once in a while. And he was on mental disability, so he's like, I don't need much to live.
That sounds about right.
Yeah, like literally though, I think there's a decent segment of our population, because again, it's weird that I like went down this rabbit hole, but there's like a lot of people in that same boat that like lost a loved one or whatever, and they might there's like 56-year-olds doing this. So like their house might be paid off because they actually did have a career, and now it's almost like the retirement they're going to spend in this virtual reality and get these life experiences, and then like like sexual stuff, like they can get the porn that they want to now. So they're
you could probably get one of those like fleshlight deals and get like an auto pumper.
Yeah. But here's the problem. Once you cross a certain line, you don't have any interest in messing with the outside world.
No.
Like I've thought about, that fleshlight's a pretty good idea. And I mean, I'm a single guy. I date around, but I'm like, fleshlight would be pretty awesome.
It's a lot easier.
Well, but then I'm like, okay, what's the second and third order effects of this? Okay, Jarrad, you're going to stop dating.
Yeah.
Because you're going to have sex with a flashlight.
You're not going to stop dating. You're just going to date your fleshlight exclusively.
Yeah, so I'm like, I wouldn't even buy it. There's no way. I would be single.
Well, there's one thing to like watch virtual reality porn, but then like he was going on about how he has a girlfriend in one of these VR communities, and like sometimes, well, I don't know if you've seen that movie with I think it's Ryan Reynolds, that free guy that's like virtual.
Oh yeah.
But like I think I don't know if it'll get there. The whole thing was confusing to me, but like there's real people that also live in these virtual worlds where whatever, they have their avatar. I don't know if it looks like whatever, how that works, but he like literally goes on about how he's had this relationship for a year and a half now with this other person that spends a lot of time in this VR world. So I don't know if they can like their VR avatars can like fuck each other or what, but it sounds like he's getting everything he wants out of this virtual world.
This is the Matrix.
Quick shout out to the sponsor of this video, Fully Loaded Tobacco-Free Chew. Check out the description of this video or the show notes to get 20% off your next order.
For all intents and purposes,
if
you just hooked up an IV to this guy and gave him parental nutrition through the IV and like put a fucking catheter in him, like essentially he's in the Matrix.
Mm-hmm.
For all intents and purposes,
He definitely is.
I mean, so essentially we are about a year or two away from just guys being full blown in the Matrix.
Because like so then I was like, all right, maybe this is just one weirdo that like not even going to call him weirdo. I don't want to judge him because he has his own thing. But then it was like there's a bunch of other people that similar things. It seems like all of them have a similar trait where they have some sort of anxiety in going out in the real world, like going to bars or whatever, like going golfing with friends. They're not into that stuff. So a lot of them are tech savvy. They get technology. They get off on technology. So improving technology. So they're all talking about how they like do like their own like improv and like I don't know how they do it, but they'll create their own stuff. So I don't know if they're trying to take VR to the next level themselves or they're just constantly testing every new thing that comes out.
So awesome.
And they talk about it, so they'll like stream like, hey, have you tried out this new thing? And like that vest thing, that was the first time I ever heard about it, but he was like, yeah, like I was in this one virtual world and this robber stabbed me in the back and I felt like I got stabbed. And he's talking about how he was out in the rain and it felt like he was getting hit with rain and whatnot. And I was like, oh, man.
But I could see it being beneficial for people who are just super closet, A, psychopaths, and B, people who are just super introverted. I understand, maybe they feel more comfortable doing that, but at some point you need some outside interaction.
It doesn't match up. It doesn't match up to reality. But I have a couple of thoughts. One, a lot of people's lives are just really bad, and they're miserable. Mm-hmm. And this is an easy escape. It's kind of an easy out. It's a lot easier to do that and just completely pretend to be something you're not than it is to like fix your own life. Fixing your own life will require like time, work, effort. Where if you just pop on some goggles and like bang a fleshlight, like things are I mean like you kind of like got to where it might be a better option for you
if they're happy.
It might be a better option for you.
And there might eventually be it's going to be there's quite probably going to be levels. Like people like us will have 1 foot in there and 1 foot out. Other people will be super involved, super immersed in that type of thing. And then there's going to be another set of people who are just want nothing to do with it at all. But I would imagine we're going to see a reduction in mass shootings because all those people who want to live in there, they can either act it out in that world.
What's the point of even being alive?
They're going to be in there constantly. The people who would be doing that kind of thing.
Because I was reading about people that like would do it as a test, like kind of like the McDonald's guy. Can you survive on McDonald's for 30 days? And like what happened? It's like this one guy like was like, I'm going to do it for 2 weeks. I felt bad because he just had like a newborn, but it was like when COVID first started. Yeah, it was wild.
Who doesn't want to have a newborn?
Yeah, so his wife and like there's a lot of noise like at the house and whatnot, and it was like driving him nuts because it was when COVID first hit. So we spent.
Can you guys keep it the hell down?
So he's like, I'm gonna put headphones on or whatever his virtual world. I don't know what. There's a bunch of. I only knew Oculus because our friends got it, and it was like, hey, we can do this golf simulation thing in the winter together. Like have whatever our own challenges. So I'm like, that's about the extent of what I've used it for. So all this crazy stuff that they had, I was like, wow. But nevertheless, he did it for 2 weeks, and like now he's having withdrawals where he wants to spend more time like back to real world. He's like, I had so many better experiences in this virtual reality world, and like just all the stress and anxiety he gets in this real world. Now he wants to spend more time in the VR world. I was like, oh my god,
it's like any other technology. It's like this instant dopamine thing where like this dude could just travel like that and just have sex like that and just do things like that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it is a lot easier, but I mean, there's no fulfillment. It's not like it's not. I could see it being a short-term happy life, but like if you did that for, let's just say you did that for 5 years, like what would you look like?
Yeah, but
in real life,
aren't we already?
I think they're fine. They would care more about how much progress they've made in this virtual world, and like they only step.
I know,
outside.
but then they're gonna like have health issues. Like it's like you're living in two worlds.
Yeah, no,
it's like like in this pretend world, but then like you actually have to take care of your body and your mind in reality. Like you can only be outside of it for so long until it becomes a point where
I know
like
way
this
too much
person's
about-
gonna get so sick.
This one guy, I'm like kind of like creeper on him because I found it so fascinating. But the one guy, because he had so many like mental issues, obviously he was on disability for it, so he got some sort of. He's the one that lost his wife to cancer, or whatever. Like he has all these virtual check-ins with his doctors, or he has to go to the doctor every once in a while. That's the little bit of reality. But he talks about how he's healthier, and his doctor. He could be fabricating everything his doctor said, but he talked about his blood pressure being better. How he actually lost weight. He used to weigh. It was like
Yeah, that could be true because he
'cause
probably
if you're
doesn't
not
eat.
eating. Yeah.
That I could see.
Yeah, or he does his. They talk about how they work out on there. They get up in the morning and they do their virtual, so whatever they run in place. I don't know how it works, but yeah. And then just like the mental side of it, I guess like his one doctor thought for sure he was like gonna kill himself and like whatever. And he goes into that dark side and how they were like every time like. We heard about you, it's more or less going to be like, where's his body at? And then, like, now they're like, you're healthier than ever. You're in a positive place.
You're doing great, bud.
Yeah, living in a virtual world.
I think I'm for it. I'm in.
I think for some
I'm
people
in.
it might be an option.
100%. I don't have a problem with this at all. Now that you're saying that, because like you said, some people's lives are just
They're
trash
awful. Yeah.
in the real world. I won't say trash, but they're just not
happy.
good. They're not good. And if that can fulfill somebody, as long as they're getting their workouts
They're
and
not a healthy, functioning member of society.
well, and as long as
but they probably weren't to begin with.
yeah, as long as they're not a drain on society, right?
Well, they're obviously going to be a drain.
Maybe they do work, but maybe it's only for 2, 3, 4 hours a day just to pay for to live in this world, and maybe they live in like a box.
You know what this? Yeah,
Literally,
That's where this
and that's
goes.
perfectly fine.
No,
Well, the one guy was talking about getting a school bus and just living in a school bus and like the little bit of money he had. He did some YouTubing and whatnot and had some revenue with like gaming. Because when you mentioned your son like actually likes to watch other people play video games, I was like, this is gonna be a thing. If kids nowadays, this new generation is like so involved and like you actually have an audience where people will pay and you could have like who's to say like it couldn't be its own TV show where all these people live in a virtual reality world and people watch these permanent characters in this virtual reality world. It's like there could be revenue streams, but it requires people to care about it, enough people to get involved in it. I'm like, the more I saw it,
interesting.
seemed like there was enough people that go all in, obviously, because we're going to be the ones that more or less probably step in every once in a while and then step out and then whatever. Like, it's cool. Whenever I put it on, I'm like, whoa, this is wild. But I also can't wait to take it off because it like hurts my head. I couldn't imagine having it on. But I think that hardware and whatnot will like improve.
Definitely
They'll make it
better.
more comfortable.
Well, and I have a confession. I've paid or subscribed to Twitch channels watching people play video games.
Yeah.
So I can tell you from a spectator
common.
standpoint, but there's a couple niches that I like. Like one niche is called GTA RP, so GTA role playing. Have you guys heard of this?
No, I know Grand Theft Auto, but I don't know.
So they have
rest
a
of it
role
is.
playing. There's different servers where they do role playing. So people will go in there as different characters. Like there's a whole police force, and there's thieves, and there's gang members, and people like that. And everyone kind of makes the whole world work. And it's like watching a reality television show. It's like watching the cops. Like I watched some of the cop RPers, role players, and it's really entertaining. I'm like, this is like cops, because some of them are a-holes, some of them are not, but everyone stays in character. They stay in character. They do not break character. Like if someone's like, oh, I don't know how to pick that up, then another character will say, oh, well, I'm thinking about just think about an F, right? And that means like hit the F key. So they won't break character really at all. They'll kind of just skate around it like that because there's some rules on these different servers.
Holy shit!
I get it. I am in for VR.
You know, okay. Here's the counter argument to all of this. This is essentially what all of our rulers that I always whine about want us to be. They want us to be locked in a coffin apartment with freaking things pumping in our veins, not moving, taking up very few resources, and sitting there in a world that we never have to leave our little apartment. That's like the dream.
Yeah.
Of
Well, a few
every
big companies,
evil
the tech companies
person.
would control everything. Like, because if you're so into this VR world, okay, at some point, like somebody's controlling the virtual simulation that you're in and whatnot, and then you're 100% tied to that now.
We're like describing what the Matrix was like before the Matrix was what they wrote a movie
thing.
about.
Well,
Like that's essentially the exact same thing.
but you've seen it. I mean, how like
I know.
I can't believe like
well-
I was never a gamer, so like the idea of me buying an Oculus was wild last year. But it was like I felt like I was missing out because we love to golf, and it's like everyone sounds like they're having so much fun in this stupid VR world golf, and I'm like I gotta get one, and then I instantly regretted it because after like 3 times I was like, but whatever, it comes in handy. But the technology itself is cool, just like going
No, it's
around.
neat.
And you're like, holy balls, and you have to like lift up, like where am I at in my family room, sort
No,
of thing.
but that's not what we're talking about. We're talking
Yeah.
about like a transition to like living in a world that you're not in, and that is, again, I do agree. It's not something I'd be like, oh, you can't do that. But I also believe that like that's exactly what they would like for us.
Yeah, but I don't think everyone's, like I said, it's going to be a subset of people that live in there, and there's going to be other people that just have their toes in there. Because there's going to be people who have to produce in the
so
world.
weird though.
They're
Like,
going to have
what
to
are you
produce.
gonna do? Like, all right, all right. So get it, but now like, all right, what if you're like one? Like, what if you're
years
a
old?
baby?
Oh.
Well, most likely your parents weren't involved in this VR world.
No, but like I
They're
know,
active
but I'm
members.
saying like, when do you just enter the VR world permanently?
Well, yeah. Well, it's the same thing our parents probably thought about when video games first came out. Get outside and play. Get off that damn Nintendo or whatever, Atari.
Yeah,
or
and
whatever.
that still occurs.
Yeah, but it's grown so much where now it's kind of like TV. Turn the TV off. Get outside. But now you see parents putting an iPad in front of them, putting TV in front of them. They play video games more and more and more. It's becoming more normal. So right now, this VR thing is just like scratching the surface. But 30 years from now, I could see people being like, yeah, I'm going to grow up.
Yeah, they're going to be like, what are you
VR
doing
world.
outside? Get in your VR world now. What are you doing?
Stop using up all the resources.
Yeah.
Your carbon footprint for the week is already over.
You have too much muscle in your leg. Get in there and sit down.
You didn't eat enough of your bug protein for the week.
Well, at that point, they'll probably grow babies in tubes. I think we'll eventually get to that point anyways because of population decline.
I think we'll get that because sperm count and everything else is just in the fucking tubes, and nobody wants to like address it. They're like, it's fine. Yeah, population's in steep decline. Don't worry about it. Fuck off. You're fine.
Within our lifetime, they're definitely going to be growing babies in a tube. I'm going to call it right now.
Yeah, I think
In
they
some
pretty much
form.
do for a decent segment of the population anyway.
They don't grow babies that are
What do you
going
think
to be
in vitro
raised by.
fertilization is?
It's not in like a tube though. It's
Not
in a, It's in
entirely.
a woman. It's
yeah,
not a human.
But I'm saying like that's the start of it. What's the next start of it? What do you think? What's that? What surrogation? Like when they do become a surrogate?
The blue hair people would freak out if you're just using women to raise or create babies. They're going to
That's
put them in
what they do
tubes.
now.
No, but I'm talking women that basically just lay there and squirt out kids.
No,
They
I'm
don't
not saying
do
they lay
anything
there.
else.
You've heard of surrogacy, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, they're walking around, but they are carrying someone else's genetic codes.
But you have to find the people that are willing to do that.
Right.
Or so the blue hair people would be okay.
Yeah,
with
I know,
doing
I'm
that,
saying
which
you-
I don't think they
I
would.
agree.
That's why I'm saying they're probably going to be put in a tube. Baby's going to be grown in a tube.
Yeah. And then
Like outside of a
then
human.
in a gestational sac, and they might just then leave them in there, and then they're in the Matrix.
Yeah.
And then once they reach
All right.
9 months, then they plug them in. I mean, that's essentially what we're talking about.
This month we're overboard. We created too many humans. We're just gonna leave them in that VR world.
I mean,
body
isn't that where this ends?
No, and then like there's this one like I think it's Mojo's or something. They're developing a contact lens that basically like is kind of like VR, but you're also in the real world.
AR, I think it's with augmented reality, where
well,
you can kind of see things like like it would tell you like the temperature of the top left of you, like that. I think that's
Yeah.
called AR.
Yeah, augmented reality.
Yeah, it seemed pretty cool though. I was like, holy, like the guy was like cycling in a race and like he was able to get the blood pressure and with the speed like 18.1 miles per hour next to me and like where everyone was at like all these. So the guy walking through an airport and it showed like the terminals and yours is gonna be 3 up and you're in seat whatever and it'll show a little grid to the side. I'm like, is this possible on one little contact lens?
Well, they had that Google Glass that was
Yeah.
That was that idea, but people fucking hated it.
Like people that like the guinea pigs that tested
Yeah,
it?
everybody like hated it.
Yeah, I
it went
guarantee
away.
It would like blow your mind to start. It'd be so confusing if you just were.
Well, it's a
seeing
lot of
weird shit.
information. It's also like we're not made this way.
I know, but people are on their phones all the time anyway.
I know.
So people are constantly. That's why people are almost already in virtual world and barely paying attention
lot
to
of
their
people
kids
are.
anyways.
Oh, yeah.
Right? They're
If you're on
just
your phone
their
for
freak out.
9 hours a day, like you're basically not living.
You're
your
already
life.
there.
Yeah.
You're already there.
Yeah, I mean, and there are a lot of freaking people. Like, you go look at those screen time things, and I'm always like, holy shit.
No, people wanted to do it if you took away phones. If we were like said, we have to go back to living like we did 2020.
No, they're addicted to a point of,
Or not 2020, 2000. Like before iPhones and whatnot came out, it
Yeah.
would be like, my social platforms. Like they're so used to checking whatever social stuff they're on, who's doing what status. They have to post a picture every single day. They got to get that instant recognition of the likes and whatnot. And then email and everything, text messaging. It's like all consuming.
have you noticed that like sensation is worse with older people? Here's my point. Every time I'm around someone who's 65 and like there's a dull second in a conversation, I feel like the fucking phone's out. Like we'll be like sitting in an environment with like other people and like they'll just be sitting there like watching shit. And I'm like are you not participating? I don't know.
So
Like,
they're paying attention 1 second and then
then they're just not there anymore. I mean, they might as well put VR goggles
like you're
on.
boring as
No.
fuck. I need to get
Yeah,
on my
maybe
phone.
it's me.
I think it might be a you problem.
Yeah, I've
No,
seen
but-
that exact scenario with some in that like demographic age bracket, but like my parents are terrible with phones. It's like they don't even understand how group text messages work.
That's
so,
good.
Like they don't get in like unless it's like, hey, like are you still coming over at 7? Like that's all I get from them, and then their phones might just sit in the kitchen drawer until they like absolutely need it. But I know others that are like obsessed with kind of what our generation or generations younger are. They're YouTubing nonstop. They're on TikTok nonstop.
Yeah.
They're like, hey, look at this. And I'm just like, all right. So you get both sides. Maybe it's like they were so absent from that sort of thing. They think it's the coolest thing in the world. And if you're retired, they have all this free time that they never had before.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But I noticed that if you actually have things going on in your life, you don't have time to get on your phone constantly. Like
No.
today, I've just been going all day, and I realized you haven't really looked at your phone other than to play music on Spotify. That was pretty much it.
Right.
There's
There's always some. That's the thing. It'd be even better if you could like have something where you didn't even have to access it. But that little watch thing, weirdly enough,
the Apple Watch.
yeah, like I actually kind of like that idea only from the sense of like you can't do nearly as much. You're not gonna get lost in it, and you could almost like put the other thing away and like that's your only connection. So if you got a text, you got a call, you got to do something that's actually productive, then you're not. All right, well, while I'm on here, let me check my, TikTok or whatever the hell it is. You know what I mean? You're not going to do that.
You can't get on TikTok with
I don't
it.
actually know that answer, but I feel like it's not going to be the same experience. On
No,
watch.
but you don't have an Apple Watch, do you, Sean? I don't either. But I didn't.
I
Get,
don't either, so I don't know why I'm praising it.
No, I didn't get one because of that. Because I am like, I don't want. When I get rid of my phone or put it away, I don't want it on my wrist. I'm doing that for a reason.
Yeah. The tricky thing is like with him and I, we always have to like
With work,
we're
yeah, for work
somewhat
and stuff.
connected to it in a sense, and like that's the problem. Like if it's near me, it's almost reactionary. You'll start to like look at other things, and like you catch yourself, and you're like, God damn it, like get out of here. It happens.
But you can also delete apps. Like I personally delete apps. When I
Yeah.
go on Instagram, I'll download it, log in, post something, and then I'll delete it immediately. I don't have Reddit, Twitter, nothing on my phone. I delete pretty much everything, or else I would be on there
How often
probably
you posting it?
maybe like once a week, twice a week. But
That's
either
quite
way,
a process then. So you're actually going in, download, delete, out.
I've been doing that since 2015,
I like that.
2016.
It's a hell of a move.
And it was ever since I
Do that.
It was ever since I stopped following people on Facebook, because with the whole election stuff and everybody was Trump and Hillary, it was so annoying seeing people post stuff. So finally, I said I'm just going to continue to be friends with people on Facebook, but I'm going to unfollow literally everybody. I follow nobody. So now I don't ever log into Facebook, and that's when I started deleting apps when I'm not using them.
I think that's a
Because
great
if you think about it,
idea.
if you're not using it, well, why do you have it on there?
Yeah.
And if
That's
it's a
great idea.
problem, which I have an addictive personality when it comes to that thing. If I have access to it, I'll go ahead and.
All it's doing
But
is
now
tracking you and using you for data at that point, so you might as well delete it.
So something to think about.
Yeah, that's unique. There's not many people that can like do that. One, like it depends how you use Facebook. If you're solely looking to like connect, but I get your point. Political seasons are the worst because people go crazy.
Oh yeah.
But you know, if you're using it for business and advertisement, and you want to know what other people are doing on ad programs and whatnot, it's kind of like, okay, I like to hop on and see what's out there. Because like what we do, like I'll get bombarded with their ads, so you can like compare with your competitors and whatnot. But yeah, no, those things suck people in for 6-7 hours a day, and it's just ugh.
No, I deleted all of it. I can't do it.
You're not on any social media, I
No.
don't think, right?
Zero.
Personal account.
No, none.
I'll have aliases, and then
Yeah.
it gets kicked
Oh
off.
yeah.
Yeah,
I think
I've
everybody
done
has
some-
that. Do you have an alias?
No.
Alias? No.
Well, I've done them, and the problem is, then like I use them for like a tool, and then I end up getting kicked off because racist, misogynist, whatever. Like
You're
thing.
trolling way too
Right,
much.
you're
And they're
like-
we
they-
gotta get this guy.
yeah.
And he just created his account like a week ago. He's definitely a
The
bot.
one I made was pretty awesome. I like pretended to be like a hyper right wing dude,
just to see what would happen.
and I got kicked off fast. I think I lasted like a month, but I was like building a following.
Oh wow.
It was like a lot of Trump with like like looking like Captain America and stuff,
Oh.
and like a lot of misspellings.
I'll get you a lot of hate quick.
Yeah, and it didn't work. It didn't work. I was banned for hate speech really fast. I think that one was. It may have been 6 weeks.
That's a good
but-
test. It kind of it's good.
Yeah, hell of a
good to
run.
play around, good
I
to
might
play
flip it
around
around
with
to the left now and be like, make myself like blue hair and like like do the whole 9 yards and really push it and see if that gets me banned. Because I'm guessing I could push that one
Oh, for
a
sure.
little bit
a lot
further.
A lot further. Absolutely.
Like you could really make that funny. Actually, I think you could be like, no one is too young to have sexual reassignment surgery. I did it to my 6-month-old. Like you could really push the
Oh,
envelope.
you would so piss people off.
But you'd also have other people like, yeah, hell yeah, I totally agree with you. That is exactly right. Like it would be awesome.
You know all the trigger words.
You know what?
too.
I might
It's
do that.
just for fun.
Yeah, that would be a blast. Just to get some of the reactions.
I say you do it.
Both
Well, the
sides
aftermath
in.
of that would probably be a podcast worth its own.
Oh yeah, you know what? That'll be a little
60
experiment
minutes.
I'll run.
Do it.
I got to see if I can download that Instagram though. Is that the best one to do it on now?
I think Twitter, right? Wouldn't Twitter be good for that kind of stuff?
Yeah, probably.
I don't know.
All of them would probably be good, but
What did you get kicked off before? Was it Instagram?
Instagram. Yeah, hate speech. I don't even remember what I said, but it was.
Well, I think
probably-
you were just trolling people, and like to the average, like regular person, it was like so obvious. Like if
Yeah.
you look at anything, like you're doing, some people get.
Yeah, no, I'll do that. What do you think my name should be? Like blue-haired mom 43 or something?
yeah.
Like blue-haired mom, 2 trans kids or something, like 2 kids tea. Blue-haired mom, 2 kids tea.
I need to think about this, but you come up with some creative ones.
That would actually be my whole alias then. I think I'm going to do it. Like I'll be like a blue-haired mom with 2 trans kids, and I'm going to make them like 3 and 1.
And you're feeding that they're vegans. You're raising
Oh,
them
yeah.
as vegans,
They're
right?
definitely
Since
vegan.
the day they were born.
Oh, yeah,
they
we're going all the
they've
way.
never had meat
Oh,
in
this
their
is
life.
brilliant. I'm definitely doing this. All right, this will be funny.
And they're gonna live in the VR world. No.
Not yet. No, I'm prepping them for that when they're 8. That's a good idea. All right, good. All right, I'll let you know how
Oh
it
yeah,
goes.
you could go in this whole dialogue about how like you weren't sure if like you really wanted to change their sex or just allow them to be the different sex in the VR world. And
but like little Johnny, now Jenna, like came like and I saw him touch a Barbie, and I know what he wants. So we transitioned him at 6 months. No, yeah, that'd be a blast. I'll definitely push that. Let's do it.
I'm sure nobody knows where your political beliefs stand after watching this.
Yeah. No, I did the exact same thing on the right wing.
Quick shout out to the sponsor of this video, Fully Loaded Tobacco-Free Chew. Check out the description of this video or the show notes to get 20% off your next order.